Welcome to Engine Adventures off-road review of the 2020 Toyota 4Runner TRD Pro. What makes it a TRD Pro? Well, some nice lightweight forged rims. Of course, TRD tuned suspension. Sorry, that's probably loud in there with the engine running. Remote reservoir Fox shocks back here. Makes high-speed off-road driving fun. Let's go ahead and jump into it. At high-speed off-road driving, this thing is quite capable. It does really well. I'm gonna have to throw the camera on the outside to get a good shot of it, of the wheel travel. But so this thing, I try to keep 20 miles an hour on this road. This one does about 25. That's a big hole right there. But man, it just handles this stuff so smooth, even though that was a big bump. Just, you can see it rocking and moving a lot, but of course there's no harsh jarring or anything. This thing is just so well equipped to handle high-speed off-road. The slowest they went through that was 20, closer to 25, 30 miles an hour. And the big dips are a little bit scary. Again, this thing's just amazing. I'll get some outside footage, of course, but there's not many vehicles that can do this. And of the ones that claim they're off-road capable, or the off-road packages, things like the Ram Rebel, this will totally eat up a Ram Rebel for high-speed off-roading. I don't know what else is in the 4Runner class. You got the Jeep Grand Cherokee, which I have not tested, would love to. And beyond that, what do you have that's really kind of an off-road capable? Maybe the Lexus GX, which is on the 4Runner platform, but a little bigger. Yeah, there's just not a ton there.
Moving on, here we are in two-wheel drive, and sorry for the screen. I don't know what was going on with the camera there, but it only does it a couple of times. Anyway, two-wheel drive, this is just normal two-wheel drive mode, traction control's on, and it does this surprisingly well. The articulation does a great job keeping the tires on the ground, and now you can see with track off that without the braking force on the spinning wheel, it just can't make that climb. Moving on to four-wheel drive high with traction control on. Again, we see this is no problem. It climbs up it as expected. Just like with two-wheel drive, if we flip traction control off in four-wheel drive high, we start to struggle again. It's not able to make this climb very easily. If I get a running start, of course it goes up it, no problem. But here, with two wheels kind of hanging in the air, you got to give it a bit of throttle before it makes it. Next up, we turn off all the systems, so if you hold the traction control button down long enough, it'll turn off everything, and you can see there's still a lot more wheel spin, but with a little momentum you can make that climb. Now we'll move on to four-wheel drive low, and once you put it into four-wheel drive low, it automatically turns off track and the stability control and the pre-collision system. All those features are just turned off automatically, so we can expect similar results to the 4 high system with all those off as well, and that's what we see. So I end up just having to give it a bunch of throttle. It's digging a lot. I can carry momentum through this to make the climb, but rather than tear up the hill, just stop it here. However, in four-wheel drive low, there are many more features than there are in four-wheel drive high. So the first one we'll try is A-Track. So go ahead and turn A-Track on, and look how quickly it breaks the spinning wheel. Makes this climb, you can crawl right up it, super easy. The next fun set of features you have in four-wheel drive low would be the multi-terrain select, where you can choose what terrain you're on and it will adjust the traction control accordingly. So here we're in kind of a loose terrain where you want some wheel spin to help clear the tires, keep momentum going and all that. And you can see it still brakes the wheels, but it allows for more wheel spin than it will in any of the other modes. Next one up is Loose Rock. So this one is slightly more aggressive on the braking than the mud and sand mode, and as we go through, the next one's Mogul. It'll be slightly more aggressive than Loose Rock. I took a line there that was just too easy. This thing has so much articulation. If I don't hit this line about perfectly, the wheels just articulate so much it doesn't slip. So here's a better angle on that in Loose Rock. And you can see there's a little bit of slip, and then it breaks the spinning wheels, goes right up there. Next up is Mogul mode. And in Mogul, it's the same thing, same story, just slightly more aggressive than Loose Rock. Does a good job, climbs right up this, no problem. The final and most aggressive mode for the multi-terrain select is Rock mode. Again, this will offer the most control. It brakes the wheels the fastest, so there's the least amount of spinning. And if you're on loose terrain, steep climbing where potential damage on the body, if you make an imprecise movement, go ahead and use rock mode and even lock the rear differential, and that'll help a ton keep you on your path. Here we are in crawl control, and this is the slowest speed, so this is speed 1, and with the rear differential open, so I haven't locked the rear diff on this just to kind of test the system to its max, and as expected, the crawl control just does amazing. The title here says it all. We're just four-wheel drive low, rear diff locked. I don't have the multi-terrain select on. I don't have crawl control on. And I mean, I could go through all the tests with the rear diff locked, but it's just going to be so easy that it's not worth doing those other tests with it locked. Next up on the list is the steep hill climb. I've never had a vehicle make it very far in two-wheel drive up this, so the 4Runner really does as expected in two-wheel drive. Even, you know, traction control on, all that stuff. It just, there isn't enough traction there, and this hill's so steep that you can't really do it in two-wheel drive. Moving on to four-wheel drive high. Basically just drives up it. You can see it lifts the wheels. There's a bit of wheel spin, whatever, and takes a little bit of work, but able to make this climb fairly easily. The next step is to go ahead and flip traction control off, and it's surprising how well it actually turns off. So it just completely stops it there. Four-wheel drive low automatically turns off traction control. Again, we get stopped at the very bottom of the hill, the first little articulation section. Now we flip A-track on with four-wheel drive low and just crawl all the way up the hill. You can see a few spots where it will spin the wheels, but so well controlled. Just a really easy and safe climb. Crawl control also works in reverse as a downhill assist. You can do it forward or backward as a downhill assist. So I'm backing down this hill, and no foot on the brakes, no foot on the gas. It's just doing this all on its own with crawl control, and it's really well controlled. Had no issues doing this. Next in line is the multi-terrain select, and we'll start with the least aggressive mode. Again, multi-terrain select is only available in four-wheel drive low, and you can lock the rear differential, but I do not have it locked in this test. You can see in the mud, sand, snow mode that there's a lot of wheel spin, and that is what you want, but it still does apply the brakes and helps get you through. Moving on to loose rock, still quite a bit of wheel spin. It's maybe a little bit more aggressive, but it's kind of hard to tell the difference sometimes. This one does seem slightly more aggressive on the braking than the loose terrains like the snow, sand, mud mode, but not as aggressive obviously as the rock mode, which is the most aggressive. So here we are in mogul mode. Again, this is kind of an in-betweener mode. I'll just let you watch it. You already know what's going to happen. And moving on to the final mode, which is rock mode. Again, this is the most aggressive one. Watch the wheels, especially the ones that are in the air, and see how much they spin before the brakes are applied and power is transferred to the wheels on the ground. You'll notice that this one is a really controlled climb compared to some of the earlier modes. If you want the most amount of control possible in a 4Runner, go ahead and lock the rear differential, and in this particular climb, there's hardly any wheel slip at all. Again, I have multi-terrain select off. I could turn that on to like rock mode and have even more aggressive braking, but no problem making this climb with just the rear differential locked. Crawl control has 5 speeds. I'm going to use the second speed on this one. The faster you go, the easier it is to climb, so this does test the system a little bit more. In the Tacoma, I did have like a system failure on this. I just had to reset it and then it made it up again. But it is a good test, kind of strains the system, makes sure that everything's working well. I did want to throw one more test in there. This is 4-wheel drive low, crawl control with the rear diff lock, just to show the difference. This is a little bit easier on the system, as of course having the rear diff locked adds a lot more traction, so crawl control doesn't have to work as hard. But man, it was such a smooth drive with this. It just basically kept consistent speed the whole way up the hill.
That's crawl control with the rear diff lock.
A lot of vehicles I've tested, either I don't even attempt this on, or they scrape making this breakover angle. In the 4Runner TRD Pro, there was plenty of room there. And as we move on and look underneath, we can see the first bash plate there up front protecting the radiator, front diff. There's your trans and engine oil skid plates. The fuel tank is protected by a skid plate. Basically, all the way underneath, you've got a decent amount of protection. I'm trying to add in a new section to all of my videos, which is the best settings to be in when you're off-roading. So if you're just cruising like this over whatever terrain, you know, stuff that's not real technical, you can really be in just about any mode. Obviously the mud, sand, and snow modes will let you do a little more high-speed stuff with less braking. This one I'm just 4-wheel drive. I haven't shifted into low range or anything. It's just 4-wheel drive high with all the traction control and systems like that are on. But you can, as you get into the rougher terrain, if you're trying to test your skills, just use 4-wheel drive low. That will basically simulate open differentials. I mean, they are open differentials, that's what it will be. And that way you can learn how to choose lines and stuff like that. If you really want to make a hill, you're really stuck, whatever, 4-wheel drive low, use the rear diff lock. And if you're a beginner, go ahead and use crawl control. That'll make, you know, the toughest climbs, it'll make that real easy. Basically with this vehicle, you can be as hands-on as you want, or you can let the vehicle do all the work for you. So if you're learning how to off-road and stuff like that, turn off all the vehicle settings and learn how to do it on your own first. That'll build your skill level higher than if you were to just, you know, let the 4Runner do it for you. But as you gain more experience in whatever, choose the mode that you like the best and just stick with that. Or if you're a beginner and you're stuck somewhere you don't think you can make, go ahead and use, you know, the rear diff lock and crawl control, along with whatever multi-terrain select setting you need to be in.
Thanks for watching the Toyota 4Runner TRD Pro video. If you liked what you saw, hit thumbs up, subscribe, ring the bell, comment down below. If you didn't like what you saw, comment down below, let me know why. Hope you enjoyed it. If there's stuff you want to see, let me know. If there was a different test you wish I would have done, let me know. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.